What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandell. I'm coming to you live today from Delray Beach, Florida, Scott Woolley Studios. And I got a special treat for you all today. I mean, for you ladies especially, this is a real eye-opener. A very, very special young man. You know, young is relative, but to me, everybody's young at this point. He's good-looking. He's famous. He's really a star. He's a stud. He's an actor. He's a performer. He's a builder. He's a director. I mean, I could keep going for the whole hour, and next thing you know, we got no one to introduce. So I want you to meet Antonio Sabàto Jr., my brother. What's shaking?
Hey, my man. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. What an introduction. Thank you very much.
Oh man, you deserve it, bro. You have done so
I
many
appreciate it.
different things in your life, and you're so recognizable. Your face, even your voice. I
Thank
mean,
you. Thank you.
what a life. I mean, there is
Yeah,
so many things we're going to
blessed.
talk about today. I mean, forgive me if didn't you just release a movie?
Yeah, I have a movie that was released just recently. I have another one coming out, and I'm in the works of doing several other ones. So it's a very humbling, I'm very blessed, very, very fortunate. Very
And are
fortunate.
you building and promoting a building now in
I
Tampa,
got
the
into
west
real
coast of
estate. Yeah,
Florida?
it's Hotel Aura. It's a beautiful 5-star hotel that will be built in downtown Tampa, Florida, which is not too far from where you are, and
Not too far.
it's gonna be a beautiful, just one of a kind hotels that you can purchase. You can live in
Like
it if you
a
like.
condo hotel, correct?
Condo hotel, and
Love it.
there's penthouses, beautiful 5 stars, the one of its kind, especially here in Tampa. So it's yeah, Hotel Aura and private residences will be built in downtown Tampa, and I'm very proud to be part of this project. Yeah,
Oh man, I bet you they're excited to have you now. My guess is
yeah.
you probably have a unit there for yourself, correct? Is that the plan?
I'm actually thinking of me and my wife thinking about multiple units.
I love it.
There's possibilities of just buying a place that will generate some income for you, and it's a great business venture, but also it's just fun to have a 5-star hotel you can hang out anytime you want
Your
with a
spot,
helicopter
baby.
pad, a
Your spot,
steakhouse
man.
spot,
Exactly.
everything. Yeah, yeah, like Frank Sinatra used to do. You know what I mean?
The old me was like, does that include Wi-Fi?
Yeah, you got the best of its kind.
I can't even imagine. We're going to get into all that, but what I want to do is I want to dial the clock back. I want to spin the clock back and talk about sort of little Antonio, where you were born, because it's interesting, right? It's really, you have a good, interesting story, where you come from and what your family was like, etc. So it's true you were born in Italy, correct?
Yeah, born and raised in Rome, Italy. My father was born outside of Palermo in Montalepre. My mom was born in Prague in the Czech Republic, and they met in Italy when my father was a very famous star in Italy back in the 60s and 70s. And me and my sister were born in beautiful Roma. And we came here many, many years ago in search of a better future, did it legally, earned our citizenship. We
I
never
like
took any
that.
money.
I
Yeah, we never
like
took any
that.
money
My
from this country.
family came here legally as well. We're all from
Yeah.
somewhere,
So I wrote
but
it all in my book. It's all in my book now. You can get it. And my life story, so far, what I've done. I've done a lot of things, and I'm very blessed. I mean, my family stuck it together. And like I said, we came here legally. We did it the hard way. We actually ran out of money. I had to go back to Italy to regroup and came back again. And so I'm very, very proud to be an American citizen. Very, very proud.
I love that. You've been called a heartthrob. Now, your dad was Antonio Sabàto, correct?
Yes, in terms of Sabato Sr., yeah, my father was an amazing actor, amazing person, bigger than life. I miss him dearly. He's in heaven right now, surrounded by 1,000 angels, man. He was the greatest man I ever met, I ever known.
I say the same thing about my dad. He died when I was 16. It's a long story, but I feel like it's a wonderful thing when a man can say that about his father. It's a blessing.
Absolutely.
Not everybody feels that way. That
Absolutely. My
that
father was a hero. He was everything to me. And
I love it.
yeah, I'm actually, I'm trying to get back to his name. I'm getting back into motor racing, professional motor racing. I just talked to a team yesterday. I'm very excited to get back into racing for the possibly the Porsche Cup Series next year. I want to do that for my father. My whole racing line of clothing, which is 16, my father's race car number, which is Pirata de la Strada, is Pirates of the Street, my new, clothing line. All these things that I'm doing as far as racing and passions that we have in my family is due to my father, and I want to get back to him and what he stood for, not only as an amazing actor and did a great films, but he also was an amazing race car driver and a father and so many other things. So I want to get back to. I want to make all the projects that my father couldn't do, and I raced at Indianapolis a few times, so that was one goal. And I want to go to Europe and race for 24-hour Le Mans, or doing races like Daytona will be another one. So I'm working really hard physically, mentally to get back in a race car and win some races.
Well, you're actually a professional driver. I mean, for real. I mean, you're
Yeah,
not just talking
yeah.
nonsense.
No, no, I turned pro many years ago. I've
Right.
been racing go-karts, all kinds of other racing, all over the world. It's in the blood. It's like
I
growing
get
up
it.
here at baseball and football. I grew up
Race
with motor
cars.
racing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Formula One, and I see Formula One right now. Brad Pitt is doing a movie
Yep.
and all that. But I've been a Formula One fan since I was born. My father was in the greatest Formula One movie called Grand Prix, and I'm sure Brad Pitt and everybody else has seen that movie 1,000
Oh,
times.
everybody,
And
everybody. Yep, yep, yep.
yeah, so I love racing, man. I could talk racing all day long, and I was a spokesperson for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway back in the day, and I love everything about it, and I'm certainly gonna get back into it 100% for my dad.
It's two things. My partner for the last 30 years, an Irishman from Northern Ireland, Ray Knox. Ray, a quick shout out. He had a Formula 4 team
Yep,
for more than 10 years, traveling the world racing.
great
He's
engine,
Yeah,
great,
he said
great
it's
engine.
costing me $1 million a year, but it's a lot of fun just to support the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not cheap. It's
it's not
it's
cheap, not cheap.
it's a sport. It's a business. It's everything. And a famous Italian author, Gay Talese, he wrote a
Mm.
book called Honor Thy Father. And
Mm,
as you were talking, I couldn't help but think of that title in that book, which I
yeah,
read many years ago.
yeah,
Honor Thy Father. It's a wonderful, wonderful um, opportunity that some men have, and a core value. Like as I said to you earlier, we share a lot of core values, and
that's awesome.
I have mad respect and admiration for you for that. Because to
Thank
me,
you.
that's more important than all the what you do and what you did and this and that. Because we all have great stories, etc.
Right,
Um, so
I
let's
agree.
go back now to little Antonio.
Yeah,
You're born in Rome.
born in Rome. Yeah.
Your parents were. Did you have a house where the parents were married, or was they divorced?
Yeah, my father and my mother were married for many years, and we came here together, like I said. And my parents got divorced in the United States after we moved here years later. But living in Italy was amazing. My father was an amazing person, bigger than life, one of the biggest stars Italy could ever develop, and major in the 60s and 70s. He was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, stars in Europe and Italy. And we grew up in a very loving, caring family, and but my father kept the business away from me. He knew that show business was one of those businesses that you really have to appreciate. You have to be really careful, knowledgeable, learn a lot, don't trust anybody. So my
Right.
father was very overprotective of me and my sister and my family. But growing up, we lost a house. Our house was burned to the ground. We had a fire, and I described the incident in my book and how it happened. And there was certain things that happened to my family in relations to my mom and my dad that I didn't know growing up. My mother escaped the Communist Party in the Czech Republic, and the Russians and the communists went after her, and
Wow.
they tried to burn us. They tried to kill me. They tried to kill me. They tried to burn the house down, and that was all found out later. I was a little boy at the time, and nothing happened to us, but we lost everything. And that move, by losing everything and being against the evil forces, and made us move to the United States years later and decide that it was something that my father and my mother wanted for me, and we had an opportunity to do so. So we didn't lose that chance. But me and my sister were very young. We didn't speak English, so we had to start from the beginning. We had to learn English. We had to go to after school programs and learn the language and go to school with strangers, and not being able to talk to other kids. And it was very, our family, the four of us, we are willing to do whatever it takes. That's just we did everything together as a family. We and that made us stronger. And we went through a lot of
Right.
hard times. Yeah, but
You
we
know,
made it through.
you're a good looking, famous guy, and people might look at you and say, what the fuck does this guy know about, suffering or struggling? Or, you understand the point, right? And
Well, that's superficial. People look at what's on the outside, and it's not always greener on the other side. People don't know what you have. That's what people write books and they express. But life is challenging for everyone, and
I agree with
there's
that.
challenges. There's challenges in all kinds of levels, and there's grief in all kinds of levels,
Sorrow,
and
mourning, I get it
sorrow.
all.
Yes, yes,
At
of
what at
course.
what point in your you're a good looking man. I mean,
Well, I appreciate it. I have good parents. I take care of myself. I'm 53 years old. I can run marathons. I can still do all the things that I love to do: race cars, race motorcycles, and fly out of plane. Jump out of planes and fly planes, and all the things that I want to do. I can still do very well. Probably smarter than before because I know how to push one to push, and
you have more wisdom
you
now.
know I hope so. I mean, I train harder than before because of that wisdom. I hope, and I try to have a lifestyle that is better than before.
Right.
But I also enjoy life. Me and my wife travel a lot. We like to see the world. I like to go deep sea fishing. I like to do things that take your body and your mind, your soul to be very active and very healthy. So
It's a great thing, bro.
yeah,
It's a
life is
great thing.
about journey, right? And then we're so blessed to have today. So today, make the best out of it.
Yep. So let me ask you a question. So at what point did you start to realize that you're a good looking boy? You're a good looking man. At what point?
Uh,
I want to understand this about you, and I
I
know
was
that our
very
audience.
insecure actually. My growing up, I never had, I was never a womanizer. I never had all these. I was I'm a kid with a very I'm a kid. I mean, I still think like a kid sometimes,
You're
and
a
I,
kid
I
to
have a
me.
big
You're a
heart.
kid to me.
Thank you. I have a big heart. I've always loved life. I always loved the people that I've been with. If I was in a relationship, I never took advantage of. I could have had a different life in a sense of being a womanizer or being
Right.
I've had my relationships that I'm very blessed to have, and the relationships that I had with I have children, with the relationships that I have with the
Right.
mothers of my children, but I've always wanted I'm always devoted to one person at a time. I am, whatever I do, I like to devote it 100%. If it doesn't work out, at least I know I did it 100%. I'm not a cheater. I don't cheat. I'm
Yeah,
very
but at some point,
straightforward.
at some point, you become a model, right? I think that's really
It came years later. When I came to this country and first, like I said, I was learning the language and I wanted
right.
to be an actor in an environment that I didn't even understand the language. Imagine how difficult that was. But I heard and I watched all the actors, the Brando, the Newmans, the Redfords, all the big ones where they went to school and their teachers and their academy. So I was able to I was able to get into some schools in acting academies because my parents worked two jobs and they were able to pay for me. So I was able to they went to those schools and I learned so much from older actors and thespians and people that I looked up to. And I was just a little boy. They didn't even speak their language and doing scenes with actors that were twice my age or
How
even
old were you? How
adults.
old were you at that time
I
when you
was 12
started?
years old,
You
12,
started
13.
studying acting when you're 12 years old.
Yeah, 12 years old right away. Yeah,
Wow. Now,
it's my first,
at what
my
point did you become a model? So you
Well, many years later, I never thought of modeling as a career. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to
right,
make movies. But then my goal was to make films, and I enjoy films, and I want to make them. That was my goal, whether I was a director, a writer, an actor, whatever. But mostly acting. I wanted to make films, and I enjoy pretending, and just getting into this world. And so I
it's
did.
great.
I did many movies, and I also did General Hospital. And after
Right.
that.
After
uh,
that, you become. I mean, Calvin Klein.
After
Like
all that, yeah,
I
after
had
that,
no
I did a
idea.
movie called "If Looks Could Kill." It was the John Hawkins story. It was a Fox movie that I did, and the character was a character that lived through the Studio 54 in New York, all those crazy times in Hollywood, and I mean in New York with Hollywood folks and
Yep.
stuff, with the drugs, the cocaine, all that lifestyle. And I did this film, and Calvin Klein saw it. It was a very successful film for the time, and he called me up. He called my representatives. He asked me to come to New York and meet him. I didn't know what this was about. And I always looked up to Calvin Klein. I mean, his campaigns were the best.
The best.
If I did a campaign for modeling, for anything like that, I would want to work with him. And funny enough, he called me and we met. We've been friends ever since. I did 3 campaigns for Calvin, the longest a male has ever done it. And I'm very proud of it, that I've done a campaign. My modeling job is pretty much starts with Calvin and it ends with Calvin.
Right. But I even, listen, I'm a guy, and I even remember you on the packages of some of these these kind of elastic boxer shorts that I wear. You on the label, I seen your face a zillion times, your body. I never quite looked like you, but I fancied myself. I used to just buy Calvin Klein really because of
The best underwear, man. They're the
the
best. I
best.
still wear them.
I'm
Yeah,
wearing them right
right.
now. I wear them right
See?
now. Correct.
See?
And still the best. And I remember your picture on the wrapper, breaking through the wrapper. So I'm stunned. I didn't know, and I remember you from General Hospital. Believe
Yep.
it or not, I used to watch General Hospital from time to time because I had a girlfriend that, was a soap opera person. And I'm shocked that I see in my mind, my feeble mind, you were a model that then went into acting, but that's completely untrue.
Yeah,
You
completely.
you went to acting school since you were a kid. Your dad's a famous actor. You started making
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
You
Yeah, I never
studying.
thought in a million years that I would be doing a campaign for Calvin Klein, and especially 3 of them, with the
Monster.
major
Everybody,
photographers worldwide.
everybody around the world knew your likeness, your face, and all these different
Yeah, I'm
things.
very
And
blessed for that.
and,
Yeah.
and it turns out you're even a better man than anybody gave you probably credit for. You were
Oh, I
like eye
appreciate it.
candy for a lot of people, and people bought that underwear because you look great in them, and Calvin Klein had the best campaigns, as you say, and he sought you out. So, I was one of those guys in Studio 54 that was doing cocaine and eating Quaaludes with
Well,
Calvin
there you
Klein.
go. So you know that.
For real, I really did that,
Yeah,
just so you know.
yeah.
So that's the kind of guy I
You
could
lived
be.
through it.
It's my story, really. You know what I
You
mean?
lived
And
through it.
it's part of my story. In fact,
That's
today on
great.
social media, my post is about the Quaalude era.
Wow.
It's a clip. It's all on my Instagram, etc. But all right,
Wow.
let's talk about General Hospital because I think a
Sure.
lot of women
Yeah.
that I know, you came into sort of their orbit. That was an amazing show. This
Yeah, it was
General
an amazing
Hospital.
show for me too, because it was a different time and also in the daytime world, they used to do different. It was a lot different than a huge writing team that had storylines that took a long periods of time, whereas now storylines just kind of come and go very quickly. But I told my fans, they brought my character back with somebody else and then they fired the guy and it didn't turn out. But I'm telling your fans, I'm telling you, whoever's watching, the producers of General Hospital, if they want me back, I'll go back for the fans. And I
Oh,
live in
wait a
Florida,
minute.
so,
Nah, right.
you know,
Listen, General Hospital.
but they didn't do it before, my friend. They did it they hired somebody else behind my back
Right.
because of this political stuff, and I said, listen,
Stupid.
I'm willing to forget all this other stuff. The fans deserve this character back because we as actors, after people understand, we as actors, without the fans, without a fan base that keeps us going, there's nothing to do,
I get it.
and so I always wanted to give back to them, and if there's a chance, and if the producers of GH watch this, Frank, you know who you are. Get me back. I'll come back and do a stint on General Hospital, bring this character back, and give the fans what they want.
We're going to tag this, cut this. I'm going to put that right in front of them because I get it.
And
Just
it's
so you know,
not because I need to make money. I know it's not made. I
no,
need a
no,
job.
no.
I'm truly, honestly, it's been a long time, but since I left the show in 1994, and we went back on. There was another show that they brought back, but the night shift. There was a nighttime thing, whatever. Didn't. But the General Hospital show that I left in '94. Since then, all the fans want me back. So that character, I started it. I love Jagger, and if they want the real Jagger,
I get it.
I'm willing to come back. So Frank, if you watch this, let's put bygones by bygones and all the political stuff behind us because it shouldn't be about that anyway. And let's give the fans what they want.
I mean, I go back to the Luke and Laura days with the
Yeah.
Sting song in the background where she's getting, attacked. I mean, I was watching that because I was at the University of Maryland, and my
Oh yeah.
girlfriend was taking a soap opera class, and so she
Oh
had
yeah.
to watch like 5 hours of soap operas every week for the
Oh
class.
man.
So I would sit with her. We would,
God bless him.
fool around and watch soap operas, and
Yeah.
I got so hooked on this, you know, The
Yeah,
one
they're
with Eric and
addictive.
Kane and the Pine Valley, and then there's
Yeah.
nothing. There was nothing like General Hospital. That was the show, and you're a stud. And I know fans of yours to this day,
Hmm.
fans of yours to this day that
I
would
know.
love to see you back on that show. I mean,
Yeah,
that's how
they're the
crazy it
best.
is. We're
They're the
gonna
best fans in the world. They're the most caring, and they have never let it go.
and
And when they hire somebody else to play my character, people were not happy about it, and they let them know.
I get it 100%. So now you're in America. You're with your family.
Yep.
You're acting. You're studying acting.
Yep.
You're on General Hospital. I mean, now you're nationally. You're like who? They all know you, right? How old were you when you were on this General Hospital?
20 years old.
You started when you were 20 years old.
Yep. I mean, I
Wow.
started on that show. I
Right.
started earlier doing.
No, I
Uh,
understand, but I'm just saying
yeah.
20 years on General Hospital.
Yeah. I actually auditioned for that show years before, and I didn't get it. I came very, very close, but obviously I wasn't ready, and so I went out and lived my life, traveled the world, did some movies, Italian films. I learned, and lived on my own in New York City for a while. I left school when I was 16 years old, and I was in Manhattan living by myself, going, I'm going to be an actor, and that's it. And then I went back to school several years from now, like, was it 3 years ago, and I got my diploma. I went back to high school and finally got it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I finally got it. I
What
had
a
to do it, man.
guy. I love
Yeah.
that, man.
I never finished it. I went to a lot of high schools. We moved around a lot. We sacrificed a lot, and that just, yeah, I didn't know then, but that built a type of persona that you just don't want to lose. You just go through, imagine going to five different high schools,
I
not
can't.
graduating,
No, I
living
can't
on
even
your
imagine.
own. It's just, I'm glad everything worked out. I had a good head on my shoulder and my good parents that taught me to be, I don't know. I made it through.
A
I
lot
made
of
it through.
confusion. A lot of confusion. Part of my own comfort is, having been anchored growing up on Long Island, going into the city. I went to work right away at one thing, and found
Yeah.
Wall Street at a young age. Spent my whole life on Wall Street. I
Yeah.
found Boca Raton. I mean, like, I've had sort of a lot of comfort in like the world that I created.
Yeah.
Your world initially was, a little discombobulated, if you don't mind me saying. I mean,
Sure. No, it was all over the place. I mean, I was an eager, driven dreamer. With
yes, yes.
hard work and dedication. Since I was a little boy, my goal was to come to the United States and be a working actor and make all my dreams come true. And no matter what would happen, I was going to make that happen.
Now, you weren't always a married guy, right? You didn't always have
No,
kids. You're 20 years old.
no,
You're in General Hospital. I
right?
mean, you become a nationally known person on
Hmm.
that show. And your
Yeah.
fans and women are dying to meet you and chasing you. I mean, what's like sort of the biggest misconception about you? That while you were doing soap operas and modeling,
I
etc.
actually, when I left General Hospital, I was a dad. I was a 22-year-old dad. My son Jack was born, and when I
Wow.
was 22, so I wanted to be a young father. I guess the misconception with anything in relation to Hollywood is, I guess, the partying, the womanizing, the dating around. I guess that would come, or the drugs. Don't get me wrong. I had my moments, but I survived all that, and I never was. I was always a very modest, modest guy. Really, honestly, just I never looked at being in the business, and that's something I learned from my parents, especially my dad. To be in this business doesn't mean you're better than anybody else. You're just doing a craft that you have to pretend every day, and it's a very strange, unique environment, the show business that I've been part of my entire life. You go to work with strangers, you pretend to be something else, and you have a great time doing it, and you get paid doing it, and it's a fascinating world. So, but in the same token, it doesn't allow you to. At least for me, I was always like, don't let this thing drive you. You drive it.
I
You
love it.
live under your
Right.
rules. You don't live under their rules. You
Correct.
live on, yeah. So I lived always under the rules that were set for me, that I live by in my lifestyle. Always have.
I mean, there had to be a time in your life when you were drinking too much and drugging too much. I mean, I'm guessing.
Wasn't drinking. Booze was never, but drugs. Some drugs, especially addictive, very addictive drugs. I went to rehab. I had the greatest time in rehab. I met my
Where'd you
best
go?
friends.
Where'd you go?
Pasadena. I went to the
Okay.
hardcore. I went to the hardcore. I didn't want to go to Club Med. I didn't want to go where all these
Right.
celebrities go on the beach in Malibu. You know, I wanted to go what I needed to go. I wanted to go
Was
with
it
my
was it coke? Was
compadres.
it cocaine? Cocaine? I'm
No,
guessing.
it was sleeping pills. It was
Okay.
that was my coping mechanism with and very, very addictive.
Benzodiazepines, Valium, Xanax, that kind of thing. Seconal,
Yeah, all
Tuinol,
that.
Nebutol.
Yeah, all that. And
Yeah.
it was the most addictive thing is especially psychologically and physically. So I
Oh,
wanted to go with the hardcore. I wanted to go with the heroin addicts. I wanted to go with people that got out of prison. I wanted to go where people are going to prison. I wanted to go to the darkness of the darkness to find my light. And I did. I
yes.
did.
It's the toughest withdrawal there is. I know because I recovered from that too.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's and it's beautiful to go through an experience like that and finding out other individuals and also for me, it was great in rehab to be away from social media, from technology, and really, really working on myself and finding out
Right.
why am I here? What am I doing? All the things that you effed up and you did wrong, do them right. Look in the mirror, fix it up.
Right.
Enough, get off your ass. Start doing things. And so, and God was really, you know, so bright into every day of my life since then. It's always been there, but it was just a good opportunity for me to really take a clean shower, cleanse,
Yep.
and come out of it on the other side much better. And my decision making after rehab, and it's been years since I've been in rehab, but it's been phenomenal. It's been great,
I
very
always
clear.
say it's not the drugs that cause you the problems. They cause physical problems, but it's the decisions you make while you're under the influence, while you're looking to
Yeah,
get them, when you're coming off them.
yeah,
Bad decisions are what ruins your life. I'm
yeah.
speaking I'm
Choices,
speaking
right?
from experience, right?
Yeah, of
So
course,
yeah, I
of
withdrew. I
course.
did a 28-day program in 1990 in New Canaan, Connecticut, to Silver
God
Hill
bless you, man.
Foundation. Yeah, so I
Good for
I,
you.
I I understand what it's all about.
Yeah.
So so was there ever a time that you felt like your fame was too much at some
No,
point?
because I never looked at fame. I looked at you're only as good as your last job. And ultimately, you want to be a better actor. You want to do better projects. Like the movies that I'm making now, Grace by Night. It's one of my best films. It's on Prime right now. One of my best movies ever. And it's out doing phenomenal. I have 426, this movie that's coming out next. That I was just at the right time and with the right projects, the right team, and also personally where I'm at as an actor, as a human being, the projects that I want to make. And so the fame has never been there. For me, it was always, can I make movies that I want to make? Can I become better? Can I get better? Can I work with better people? Can I work on better projects? What is my message? And can I continue doing what I love to do? And it's been tough, because we have so much political stuff and involvement into the entertainment world, which is unfortunate because we shouldn't have it.
It's
Yeah,
crazy, bro.
we shouldn't have it. We
It's
shouldn't. We
it's a
shouldn't be
Holly.
talking about. Yeah, we
John
shouldn't have it.
Voight, Trump, and Hollywood is a headline today on CNBC and Fox Business. Just so you know.
Yeah, no, I saw it, and I understand what Trump is trying to do, and I appreciate the Hollywood business. I make movies, I produce films, I've made movies and produced films all over the world, so I
Right.
understand how the tax bracket, how the incentives. Trump thinks that, and he's right in one way. I mean, other countries give incentives, and they don't make it somewhat cheaper in an essence, but they make it easier.
Right.
Other countries, when you go with production companies and you go to Los Angeles, there's permits, there's money, there's this, there's that. There's
Regulation.
there's
Overregulation. Overregulation.
Screen Actors Guild gets
Right.
in it, and you have to do this and da, 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 all this other stuff, right? So it becomes impossible as a filmmaker to do any movies in Los Angeles at all. So for
I
many,
get it.
many years, they've been going to Canada, they've been going to South Asia, they've been going to Turkey, they've been going to Romania, they've been going everywhere else. So if you want to bring him back to the States, make it where we get incentives, but really good, real incentive, not tax brackets
Not
where
bullshit, right? Not bullshit.
no BS where we get like a tax bracket. If you spend $1 million on a movie in Florida, a year later you'll see like
Right.
some tax. No, I don't want
A
that.
tax credit. Yeah, I
I
get it.
want real communities coming and endorsing us and
Incentive,
go,
real
we want
incentive.
movies here in
Just so
America.
you know, I'm building a company called Raw Media, and I have signed a deal to co-produce a movie called Blind Greed, based on a book which we also control the rights to, and we're going to be releasing in the not too distant future. Super book about a guy named Lawrence Hartman, an Ivy League lawyer who ends up becoming an international fugitive. True story, amazing story. We signed with Michael Capon, Copon. He was one of the Power Rangers. He was on One Tree Hill. He
I
done a
know
lot of.
him.
Yeah, I'm sure you
He's a
do.
friend. Yeah, I know who he is. I know him.
You sort of remind me of him a little bit. So he's going to star as Larry Hartman. He's
Yeah,
co-producing it, and he's agreed to direct it. And we're making it in the Philippines.
good for you, man.
And then Trump comes
Make
up with
more
this
of
whole
us.
thing. And so, you know, this is just something
Yeah, but it
new.
doesn't matter. I mean, it's you can make co-productions. You
Correct.
can still shoot here but
Correct.
as long as we have the option that I can go in Oklahoma or whatever and have an option to make movies in the United States, and they used to be a lot easier. It used to be
Correct.
common. We used to make a lot of movies in the United States everywhere. New York City used to be packed with productions. Now you don't even see them.
Well,
You don't see any
it
productions
was
here.
L.A. or New York, and now it's they
Yeah.
killed it. But you know, people don't understand. So by all this regulation, these hurdles you got to deal with,
Yeah.
that's just a secret tax.
Yeah, it's a
That's
secret
all
tax.
it is. They tax the shit out of everything
Yeah.
by overregulating it, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and they always make the excuse, other excuses and other things, but at the end of the day, it is that. It's about making money and taking advantage of these movies. But you know, entertainment world is a beautiful world, and if you can incorporate great films and you know, people need to get out and live life and see things and be motivated and have some sort of, you know, that's what movies are there to do. Motivate you, get you out of that dark place, you know? And
Correct.
yeah.
They're, to me, they're inspiring.
Yeah,
They're
very much
entertaining,
so.
but they're inspiring.
Yeah,
I've made
very much.
decisions about my life based on characters that
Yeah.
I've seen on the big screen because I didn't have a father for most
Yeah.
of my
Oh,
life. So I
oh.
would see, you know, Michael Douglas on Wall Street, and so I'm going to Wall Street. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, like that kind of
Wow.
a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
do know.
it provided a little bit of a north star to me. Some of these
Mm,
characters,
yeah.
not always healthy for me, but just that's the kind of guy I am. But typically, it's great stuff, and I'm excited to meet you today. We've never met,
here.
right? We've never spoken
No.
except on social media.
Sure.
And I'm psyched to get to know you. Now I'm going to start watching some of your films, right? I'm going to
Thank
start.
you. Thank you.
I'm going to seek it out, and I'm going to do my best to promote you to my 100,000 people that follow me, et cetera, and so forth. It's exciting. I mean, you seem to have a really good head on your shoulders,
Thank
and
you.
I speak to guys in the industry now that I'm sort of in the industry. I like to learn about the business of it. I'm a Wall Street guy. I did that my whole life, very successful, et cetera. And
That's
researching an industry and getting to know some of the players, how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
you can't play a game if you don't know the rules. And if you
Sure.
know the rules and you get in the game, don't think you're a king of the game because you just got in the game. That's how you lose your shirt. You got to know what you're doing. You are a shining example to me. What you stand for politically, your conservatism in some way, your faith, your values, your family. I align with you and the man that you've become.
Thank you.
Right down the line. So for me, it was a really exciting opportunity to get to meet another guy who sort of, follows the same values that principles that I have that guide
There's
me.
a lot more of us. It's just unfortunate that people are scared to have that masculinity and that leadership and that confidence. Unfortunately, America used to be like that all over. We grew up watching Robert Mitchum and John Wayne,
Right.
bigger than life characters, and Marlon Brando doing On the Waterfront and Streetcar Named Desire. You're mentioning these characters, the Michael Douglas, and I also had the chance to meet his father, Kirk Douglas, one of the
Yes.
greatest. And I had
Greatest.
I had one of the
Spartacus.
greatest times. I was inspired by him, and me and him talked a while, and it was amazing. These old cats, I had a chance to meet a lot of these Chuck Norris, a lot of other good ones,
Right.
amazing, that lived a life that we all wish and dream of having, but those characters are still here. We still have them. We just have to bring them to the surface. And I think the next generation is waking up, and I'm very confident that they had enough with this woke agenda. And I think listen, men need to be men. They need to be strong. They need to build roads and
Thank you.
bridges and
Thank
build
you.
planes and build ships and work with the steel and protect women and do what we have to do to be better for the next generation. And the same thing for the women. And everybody has to come together and go, we're humans and we're to be better than yesterday. And these characters that we're talking about, the John Wayne and these guys that were in these films like Rio Bravo and The Godfather and all these great films were bigger
Lee
than
Marvin,
life.
the Dirty Dozen, Lee Marvin. I mean, think
Yes.
about men.
Steve McQueen and
Steve
Paul
McQueen.
Newman.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You
I want to
know,
continue that. I want those guys
James
to still
Dean.
exist. Yeah. James,
Clark
all those
Gable.
great
And
individuals,
it's
with
amazing.
bigger than life, personas, and also the will to have to go against the darkness, to always win, to have that mentality. It's like, what, we're going to keep on winning.
Right.
Even if we lose, we're going to get up and get up again. The Rocky movies, the Sylvester
That's
Stallone
it.
movies,
Sly.
you get
Yeah.
knocked down, you get up again, and so that mentality has always been around me, and I hope that I think I did a pretty good job into bringing that into my kids.
Yeah, last night I met some guy for the first time. He's been pitching me to become some part of some group and, VIP me and sit on the stage and be on this panel. And he asked me what my pronouns are. I don't even know what that means exactly, but I just said my pronouns.
I don't even know.
My pronouns are go fuck yourself. That's my pronouns. I mean, I don't even know what he, she, it, them. What the hell happened in this world? I feel like everybody went nuts. What?
Right.
I was in prison. I did a Fed bid for 9 years and 4 months. I was in federal custody, and when I'm filling out the form when they're releasing me, they asked me my gender, and I'm sitting across from a guy. He's wearing his BOP uniform, and I said, "You're asking my gender." And he's like, "Listen, Mr. Mandell, I'm sorry. You have no idea. I have to ask the question. I can't even joke about it. And we have meetings about this, and we have seminars, and we get emails, and we're held accountable. That's what they hold them accountable." I said, "Okay." I said, "What are my choices?" It's not, but this is true. This is what happened in our government.
Yeah.
There's 7 boxes to choose. I said, wow. Potentially 7. I'm non-binary because I've been locked up for a while and I don't know what I'm doing.
What?
Celibate. I don't know what the hell these things are. I said, what do I look like? I mean, this is like, what kind of craziness is going on? And he won't even joke. That's how this cancel culture.
It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous because it's not moving us forward. It's moving us backwards. Or at least a big part of our generation is moving backwards, and they really strongly believe in this. So I think in some ways these new generation folks who are believing this nonsense they like the fact to be different. Like it's cool. It's like the new. I guess it's cool. I
feel like they're living out a sexual fantasy. That's my
maybe so.
My belief.
Maybe so.
And you know what? Listen, to each his own. I really believe in personal freedom. Do whatever you want, but don't impose it on me. All right?
No, and also don't impose something that is not truthful. You can believe it in your own world if that's what you choose to do, but don't put stuff that is non-realistic and non-real.
Did you know a couple years that men can have babies? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I mean, nobody knows that because it's not true, but they were pitching that. It was on the cover of like Time magazine. I was listen, the insanity.
The insanity. But it's programmed that way. It's the matrix, the system, the world, how it organizes everything, how it puts everybody in their corner is designed to do that way. It's like a circle of life, and if you can get out of that, see the world and see things for what they really are, then you can live in peace. I suggest you can find it for yourself.
I think the dark forces of this world are trying to weaken America and Americans. And I say that because
They
We've
tried
on
to. They almost
with
had it. They almost had it.
well, they're not done yet. I mean,
No, they'll never down. But for
we
the
might have.
moment, we were able to put a little bit of a blockage there, and maybe we can fix it together. But it could have been a lot worse.
Let me just say like this. I'm an ex-con now. I've convicted of 4 felonies. I guess I'm not man enough because the guy running the country, the CEO of America, the president of the United States, has been convicted of 32 felonies. I'm just like a child. And he's got another
Made up
60,
convictions.
another 60 felonies in the wings waiting on him. And
Yep.
they tried to wreck his business, take his money. They took away his business, his license to build in New York. I mean, they hit him and his family with hundreds of millions of dollars in fines. They tried to kill him on national TV. Do you know that
Yep.
Trump did 93 rallies in 2024?
Yeah, I watched them all.
93. Hold on. CNN only covered one.
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't cover that.
The only one they covered was the one where he got shot.
Correct.
You think that's coincidence? I don't think so.
No, absolutely not. No,
just like
absolutely
JFK,
not. That's how they work.
The one thing they covered with JFK was the riot in Dallas. They wanted the world to see this is what we can do. I really believe that, and it frightened the hell out of me, and I'm scared for what the future brings because they've been so successful. The Canadians just elected a liberal guy, and you see
Australia
Europe has been overrun with the migrant problem. Overrun countries, overrun. There's when you look at Russia and you say maybe they got it right. The world's in real trouble. Like Putin said, listen, if you want to chop off your penis and say that you're a woman, I mean, that doesn't fly in Russia. They're a Christian nation. I mean, it's almost like, what the hell? They're supposed to be the bad guys. And meanwhile, if you look at what's going on in this country with the wokeism and the DEI and the cancel and all these different things, it's frightening to a guy like me. Because
they have their laws and they respect their laws and they stick to their laws. Japanese laws are the same. In a lot of countries in the world, they respect their laws. We don't because we give the freedom to do whatever you want. And then the politicians and the industry and the media together, all of them together, work it out to change it and to lie about it and to use it for their own benefit and actually legally change the laws too. They do that as well in the courts, as you know. So it's all the freedom that is allowed to have and them taking advantage of it.
Well, they give you freedom. They give you freedom. You could dress like a lunatic and do sex shows to kids, but they're quietly taking your other rights away that are really important.
Right.
You can live out your sexual fantasies now in public and use the men's room and girls' room and do all these different things. But we're now listening to all your phone calls.
Right.
We're looking at who you pray to. We're seeing how you align yourself. They've taken away so many freedoms that people don't realize that we all take for granted. They're slowly but surely taking them away under the guise of national security and we're going to take care of you and all the nonsense. So, I mean, it's amazing how, you come from an industry, if you don't mind me saying this, that has been considered extremely to the left.
Unfortunately, but it's also... There's also a place there that a very smaller community of conservatism, and we just have to bring them out together and keep making. The only way you're going to win, and ultimately the only way you're going to stand up against this nonsense in Hollywood is to make your own movies, to create your own studio, to create your own production companies, distributions, and all that stuff in house. So you make the movies that you want to make.
And that's what I'm doing, just so you know. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's the only way. Because there's no point of fighting or arguing with these folks because, one, you can have a normal civil conversation if you wanted to. And two, there's no point. It's they do what they do and we do what we do. And so at the end of the day, we're both making films. It's just we don't want to deal with nonsense and we just want to make good films. And we also want to make movies that are patriotic. Movies that are well made for God. I believe that the Lord deserves the best movies, not just movies about the Lord and say, oh, I just made a movie. No, we need to make great films, awesome films, just like studio films, produced, written, that everyone will have to see, and not just Christians. I don't make movies for Christians only. I make movies for everybody. That's how God is bigger than all this, you know.
He sure is.
So, and we got to keep fighting for them. We can't always say you know, we got to stand up to them with this or that. No, God has already done that for us. So all we have to do is stay on path, stay in our own lane, and create better product that have those values in it. And if you can do that, people will see it. You know, ultimately, if a good movie's good, it doesn't matter. If it's a good movie, you and I will go see it.
100%.
And if it's well made and it has good morals and it moves you and it has something there that by the time you're done with the films, you're like, oh man, I feel better. That was a great film. That's the whole point. And we're entertainers, you know, we're circus acts, you know, we're vagabonds, we're gypsies, you
I
know.
love
So
it.
we go to town and we entertain people for an hour and a half with a product, and hopefully by the time you feel better and have a better time with yourself, and you can go back to your family going, you know what, I had an hour and a half apiece, you know, or entertainment.
I got out of myself, as I like to say. I got out of myself.
Yeah.
I got out of my own head for a minute, and
For a minute.
what a blessing that is for me, a guy like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, it's like a reprieve. I spend too
Yeah.
much time in a bad neighborhood, right between my own ears. You know what I mean?
Right. And we have that too. And we have so much negativity throughout the day that I want to make content and movies that, you know, that are well made. And God deserves the best movies ever, but also films that, you know, and this is also, I want to tell that to the Christian community, because also the Christian community is at fault here by believing that movies for them should be perfect films with perfect characters, with perfect screenplays. You know, a Christian man is, no, we're full of a lot of flaws.
Oh yeah.
We sin on a daily basis. That's why we have Christ as our Savior to clean us every day, to say, I'm sorry for my sins, because we're not perfect. We're very far from it. So I want to make products and movies just like Grace by Night, where you have an arc and movement and go, oh, wow, he found the Lord, but he still made mistakes. Really? You can do that? Yes, you can. We do that all the time. Oh, he found Jesus, but he still made the mistake, but he still continued to do better. Oh, I can relate to that. You know, so I want to make films. Like I said, I've been fortunate enough to do Grace by Night and now 426, and I want to continue making good films like that. And the next film that I'm directing, Breaking Shadows, which is about sex trafficking and prostitution at a young age, and this young lady by the name of Jean Davis who went through the worst darkness times in her lives and found Jesus Christ and cleaned herself up several years ago, and now she's giving hope to other people and other children and other girls over young ages. So eh, I want to continue making, you know, and you should see the trailer on breakingshadows.com. It's there. You can, if you guys can post it, it's a great trailer that I just finished shooting. But moving projects, moving amazing projects that have everything you need in it that will move you.
Compelling stories.
Yeah.
About how, you know, the highs and lows of humanity, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really
Yeah.
something else. Now,
Yeah.
one thing that, so long before I was podcasting and all that kind of thing, somehow you came into my orbit because I study politics and what's going on in the country, and I saw you. It was like you doing a monologue or something, just commenting on
Yeah.
On politics and your faith and your beliefs. And I remember thinking what a guy, because here you are, part of an industry that's sort of notorious for
Lying.
cancel culture, wokeism. I hate to say it, pedophilia. I mean, the things that are friggin' nuts. And you got Biden in office and this craziness going on. We all knew he was unfit. They kept denying. We have no idea to this minute who was actually running the country and passing all these laws, etc.
We saw it with our own eyes.
The robo pen. We all knew it, but they're just figuring it out now. That's their story. You took a risk, sort of like going against the grain. Sure, after Trump is elected, now everybody's like, you know, John Boyd, and this one and that one, and Stallone, and right, Mel Gibson, all these people are coming out like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And now they're breaking from the Hollywood tradition. But you, prior with the other administration,
I was the first. Yeah, I was the first, my friend, and I was the first one to to feel the wrath, as they call it, of this group of just very low IQ people that
Correct.
will only attack. And they will attack you. They will try to attack you on social media, and then they attack me everywhere else. And they got rid of my representations. I didn't have a man. I haven't had an agent in Hollywood ever since. Nobody's ever represented me.
Really?
Uh,
Really?
no, I don't have an
I
agent
want to say
commercially. I
something
used
to
to have
the
managers.
agencies. You should
I
be
don't have
ashamed
anybody.
of yourselves.
I don't have anybody. I've
Sign
done
this
everything
man
on my
up.
own. I've done
That's
everything on my own.
crazy.
My friend, I went in construction. I went into the concrete business after acting for 35 years because nobody would hire me. I needed to pay my bills. I needed to
Wow.
take care of my children. Moved to Florida. I was in the construction world doing concrete, and I put my pride aside, and I did what I had to do to survive and got myself back on my 2 feet. And now I'm making movies again. But
So you paid a real price.
no, I paid a huge
I'm
price.
just saying, because you could have went with the flow, and you're good looking, and
Yeah, yeah.
everybody,
Yeah, I
these
could have played the
men
game.
ogle
Yeah,
you,
sure. No,
you
I can't
know.
do that. I sleep good at night, that I
But
don't
you know what I'm
lie.
saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
guys took that road. I know men have done that, and
A lot of guys that I know took that and won Academy Awards, and actually
correct.
are definitely a lot better and more successful and richer than I could ever be. But my richness is in my soul and and the soul that I carry and my devotion to God. So no money in the world, no fame in the world will ever change that.
So you're telling me that I won't expect to see your name come out at the P Diddy trial.
No, absolutely not.
None of
I
those hot
remember
oil
him. I remember
parties.
him. My friend, I'll tell you a story. I wrote this in my book because I was in Miami many years ago, in the '90s, and it was Jennifer Lopez when she was dating P Diddy, and they were at a hotel in Miami where I was staying there in one of the bungalows, and they were hanging out
The
outside. She was reading a
Delano,
script.
the
I did
Delano.
just
I
say the
was
Delano.
there. I was
Yep,
there.
I was there that day, and and P Diddy always tried to ask me, come out with us. And I knew J Lo, when she was married to this kid before, and I knew her story because she dated another guy I knew, and the guy told me about him. So I knew about J Lo way before I knew about her past, even before she did In Living Colors and the dancing thing. Even like I knew, so I was like, all right, cool, but I don't want to hang out with these people. So, and I never did. I just something my gut feeling, and always rely on that gut feeling. Always told me never hang out with these people, so I never did. And so a question I'm always asked, about because of all this stuff that's coming out with P. Diddy, were you asked to go to these parties? Did you ever see anything? And for me, I believe in my soul that I was always protected by the Holy Spirit and these demons, as I call it, because in
Yeah.
the world of the darkness, when you're talking about pedophilia, as you were saying, or child trafficking, or prostitution, or all these things that happen in the P. Diddy file thing
Yep.
and the Epstein file, and all this stuff, I was protected from, and even the Epstein file almost because I could have gone to those places.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I knew all the same people, but I always stayed away from them because God always kept me away since that God feeling always that the Holy Spirit in me said, because I could see them as demons. There was always something about them and they always saw me too. I always believed too that when I went to the Academy Awards one year and I saw the demons there, I was like, they knew. They know that I'm protected by the Holy Spirit. So in a way, they know that they didn't want me there either. Because why would they want somebody who's
Right.
protected by Jesus Christ come over there? So I could see them and they could see me very clearly, and I always stayed away. And so that's how I went.
I used to go to the Delano and rent
Mhm.
Bungalow 8 with my girlfriend,
Yeah,
who became my fiance, who became my
beautiful
wife, and the mother of
bungalow.
my children.
The
Right.
downstairs, upstairs to the
Correct.
bedroom.
It's
Yeah,
like 3
yeah,
grand, 3,500 a day. This is
yeah.
25 years. They're
Not
filming,
cheap.
unbeknownst to me, they're filming the movie Ali in Miami.
Oh yeah, yeah,
P. Diddy, well, he was Puffy then, was staying with J Lo in one of the cabanas. Jamie Foxx was there in one of the cabanas.
yeah.
Beyonce and the whole group she was in, I forget the name of the group. They were there. This was in 2001 because it was my daughter's birthday. She turned 1, and
Oh,
Beyonce and the 3 girls sang "Happy Birthday" to her
oh
poolside.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, 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 yeah. It was unbelievable. And then Will Smith was staying at a mansion somewhere. He came in during the day just to say hello to everybody.
Yeah.
And I witnessed some things at
Oh, you
night.
did?
At night, it's very quiet at night. Poolside, the bungalow, J Lo, P Diddy, and all these things. I witnessed some things, and of course, I was with the girl who I loved and felt good about it, and
Right.
but I witnessed some things, and
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, this happens. I get it. I was single once and young and all these things, but I guess they just took it to a ridiculous level. And this
I'm
poor
sure.
guy, they started jury selection yesterday, and very few people fully understand what that is. But I went to trial in that courthouse, in that
Right.
building. I went through jury trial. I know how dirty and corrupt this process is. Doesn't matter who's the president. This is
Yeah.
a DOJ prosecution, and he thinks that he's got a good shot because he's got these great lawyers. He turned down a plea deal, which is my guess is it was a 10 years, and he'd have to probably turn over like 25 million or something like that.
Right.
His lawyers said no because now they can't bill him another 30 million for the trial, the appeal, and all that. I'm afraid that this guy might never see the light of day again. I don't
I just
know
want
him.
to see the names. I want to see the list. I want to see, and the thing is taking such a long time. Bondi with the DOJ talking about that. We need to see some people going to prison. Unfortunately, the reality is they all work together and they
Yep,
all party together
yep,
and they all hang out together and they all shake hands after the phone calls and the interviews are done.
correct.
They talk in a different way. So that's the reality. So I tell people, work on yourself. Get yourself to be the best you can be.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, because you can't control that. You can't.
God, I believe God lives inside each and every one of us.
Amen.
And
Amen.
your ability to understand that and deeply believe it. It's not enough to
You
believe it a
have
little
to.
bit. You have to deeply believe it. Belief is the
Yeah.
most powerful thing in the universe. And I
And you got to
love
believe in yourself because what happens is
correct.
now in society, because we're introduced so much information from the day we wake up, the first thing we do, we open our eyes, we're back on these phones and looking at negativity and looking at what it can be or what it could be or what I wish it can be or I want to be like this or I want to be like that instead of looking at ourselves.
Well,
And so if
I would like to look like you in a pair of those Calvin Klein boxes. I want you to
but
know
God
that.
made it, made us perfect and individually under His vision in a way
Correct.
that nobody understands. We it's just objectively, like I remember being a little boy telling my mother, I don't want to get a haircut. And my mother says, well, you don't need to get a haircut. I mean, you just get a haircut because it's really objective to what you want to look like. Think about it. You get a haircut because of what you think you should look like, right? So you get a haircut. So depending on what you think is the way it should or what. And that was a lesson for me from my mom. It says, you're right. You're right. My mother was always right from the beginning. It's like, because you always rely on the things you do depending on what others in society is doing.
Yeah, you're
Because if
affected.
they're doing it, you're doing, instead of looking at yourself and go, what does Antonio want to do? Well, how do I want to live who is this guy right here? So I
Exactly.
think I tell people just focus on yourself because there's something beautiful about yourself that maybe you don't even know. And maybe when you find that out and the world finds out that beauty in you, that speciality, the thing that makes you special, that the world is going to find out. And that's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. And you know what I'm learning now about you is that, essentially you were blacklisted for your beliefs. I mean, essentially, right? They don't
Yeah,
call it
no,
that.
that's totally a fact. That's
Right.
a fact.
Right. So in
Factual.
essence, and I didn't even know this coming into this, we did prepare for you because you have a lot of fans in my on my team. I just want to say that.
Oh, thank you. I love them all. Thank you very
You have
much.
no idea. You
I
really have
appreciate it.
fans. Look at that smile. Wow. I mean,
I
you got
love
some.
life, man. I love life, and the best is yet to come, like Frank used to say. The best is yet to come. You think yesterday was bad? No. Tomorrow's going to be great. Tomorrow's going to be great. Today's bad. Tomorrow's going to be great. Always know that the best is yet to come. And if you keep believing that, life will turn out and turn around, and you will get everything you deserve and everything you want. Believe it. But believe in you, because that's what God wants us to do, man. God says, I made you,
In his
and I did
image.
this for
In
you.
his image.
Exactly. I
In
did this for
his
you.
image.
Right.
And God is all powerful, all knowing, all loving. So
All the time.
that's who we can be,
Yeah.
but you got to know it. You can't just, you got to know it. And we have, as human beings, we have these built in forgetters. Like I teach motivation, And one of the things is I said to the guy yesterday, a company wants to hire me. They sell insurance. They want me to speak to their crew. They got a huge crew. This one office to start 50 at a time, 50 guys.
Yeah,
And I said, look, did you brush your teeth yesterday?
that's right.
He goes, yeah. I said, did you brush your teeth today? He says, yeah. I said, why? Because hygiene requires a daily effort, right? You wash your hands. I wash my hands 10 times a day. Okay. Hygiene requires a daily effort, but guess what? So does motivation.
Yeah,
So it's not the kind of thing, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar last October. Don't worry. What'd you do today? What did you do today to advance yourself, to advance your ability to produce, to advance your appetite to want to produce, etc.? So, I'm teaching these principles to people that think that it just comes because, you read a book once or you went to a seminar once. Don't work like you once brushed your teeth. Good luck.
No, it's a daily, it's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's every single day of your life, and you should take pride in yourself. And I think if you change the way you look at things, all of a sudden your life changes, your lifestyle
I love it.
changes.
Now, you said you were a father when you were like 22. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
You weren't married, were you?
No, I was not married. I actually got married before. I was married I was married for 5 months when I was barely 18 years old.
What?
Yeah, I got married to a beautiful model. We're still friends, but obviously I was extremely young, and I always wanted to do things my way. And obviously I found out the good and the bad, and learned very rapidly. But my mentality, my persona is always doing things that pretty much nobody has ever done. I did things at a young age.
You're a passionate Italian man, right? The period. That's truthful, right?
Yeah, I just did,
You
like
race
I did
cars
things.
and you act on the
Yeah,
big screen and you married a girl you thought you loved and you still
yeah.
love, but
My gut feeling, yeah.
marriage is very different than you're entering into a contractual relationship. It's not
Yeah,
quite
I finally
what we
married
think.
now, and I'm finally with the right person. But
What's your wife's name? Can I ask?
what's that?
What's your wife's name?
Katia.
Say it again.
Katia, Katia.
Wow, that's Czech. She's not Czech like your
No,
mom, is
she's
she?
Cuban. She's from
I
Havana,
love it. I
Guyana.
love it. And when'd you get
Yeah.
married, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, we've been together. It's coming up to 8 years now.
Wow.
We've been together this June. Um, we, yeah, I guess, listen, I've always been in touch with certain parts of myself. And one of them was my romantic side, wanting to be with someone. And I just wanted to have a family at a very young age. And I've always wanted to be devoted to one person. I believe in romance, loving your partner very
I
much
love it.
so.
I love it.
And I love my girl so much. And I just
Where'd you guys meet? Where'd you guys meet?
we met many years ago. We met through social media. Actually, she was
Wow.
on LinkedIn. Actually, we met, but this is like over, I don't know how many years ago. Like I said, we've been together 8 years now, and we knew each other many years before that. So, but business wise, she was in real estate. I was doing some real estate stuff at the time, and
Wow.
or at least thinking about real estate. And she was involved in an amazing project. So we started talking, and we had a conversation before we started dating. We got to know each other, and we really liked what we just got together and talking.
I
Yeah,
love it.
and
That's You got to be friends for marriage to work. In my opinion, you have to
yeah.
be best friends.
So when we met, we kind of had like an off. We had a video chat for many months. We started getting to know each other. We talked on the phone, then we started having these video chats, and we just clicked.
I
And then
love it.
eventually when we actually physically met, we haven't been apart ever since.
Now, how many children do you have in total?
I have 3 children, and she has one, so we have 4 total. I have 3 children with previous relationships. She has a child with a previous relationship. We don't have children together. We're perfect. We travel. We have cats. We adopt. We have a
I love it.
beautiful kittens that we adopt that we love more than anything. Our love for animals right now, for our animals, is
I
gone
love
to a
it.
whole new level. I love my furry animals
At
more than I
hotel
have love humans.
at Hotel Aura, I'm assuming we could bring our animals.
You
We
can
can
do
have
whatever you
pets.
want. You could
We
have
have
whatever you
pets.
want.
All right.
Yeah.
I lived in Trump Tower and
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy in his building because the Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, you're only allowed to have one
Oh,
dog.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had
That's better than most, you know. If you
I
think
had
about
2 dogs.
Oh,
And
you had 2
eventually we
dogs.
had 4 eventually. And we would go nowhere
Yeah.
without our dogs. Little dogs,
Yeah.
but still. So I moved to Trump World Tower, which was the
Oh, okay.
90-story building across
Yeah.
from the UN, which was phenomenal.
Beautiful building.
Yeah, I
Beautiful
loved that building. I lived there for 6 years, and
Oh, you
Derek
did.
Jeter
That's beautiful.
lived there, and Mets, Yankees,
Trump
movie stars.
builds the best stuff. He really
He
people have
does.
to understand. He builds to the soap in the hotel room, to the sheet, to the mattress.
Every single thing is well thought out and really unbelievable.
The towels, everything. If you stay at a hotel by Trump, is
The best.
incredible.
And let me tell you let me tell you his gift. This is something I can speak to because I lived in his building. I actually did 2 deals with him, and he's a real guy. He's a straight, tough guy.
Yep.
Tough guy. I squeezed him actually because it was after 9/11 and he was a little illiquid and he needed some money, whatever. We had the same lawyer. I had a couple of million sitting in escrow at his lawyer's office. I said I could close within 24 hours, but this is the money I'm going to pay. And he says, "Oh, you're offering $2 million." I said, "I'm not offering $2 million. I'm not offering anything." I said, "I'll pay $2 million for apartment 36C, Trump World Tower, and I'll close in 24 hours. If you're not interested, you're not interested. I'm not going back and forth in some game. I'm not that kind of guy." He goes, "You're killing me. You're killing me." And but we did the deal, and he knows how to run things. And let me tell you, so this is a great quick story. We move in, and I've got my young wife, my young kids, my nanny and housekeeper. I got my dogs. And so I find the super and I say, "Listen, I travel a lot. I have a young family. I need to know you're going to look after them." And I hand the guy $500, in my hand. I gave him a nice little, I said, "You're my guy. You can always count on me. You'll always have with me. I'll never go away empty handed, but I need you to keep an extra eye on my family. Mr. Mandell, I promise this, that, the other thing." I fly to Europe. I did some business. I had a place in London and all these different things. I come back and there's a new super. The guy
you knew was gone.
They've hired. Now I find another guy, give him another 500, the same story, the same speech. He lasts 3 weeks. We went through 5 supers. I stopped giving. I started watching. Yeah. And by the time, after 3 months, whatever, 5 supers, we had the best super in New York, the best run building. The concierges were great. But he doesn't put up with nonsense. His organization
wants the best.
They demand the best. You don't want to play. You want to call in sick. You got to play hurt in the big leagues. You got to show up. So
when you go to Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C., one of my favorite places. I'm sure you've been there.
Yes.
The bacon is the best. Just the bacon, just to tell you what the best bacon.
Hickory smoked, strip bacon, beautiful. I get it. I mean, I get people don't understand the details
the Bloody Mary at the Trump Hotel at the bar is one of the best ever. I mean, you gotta appreciate the little things.
I get it. Everybody gets the big things right. Everybody gets the big. It's easy. Yeah. It's the little details that separate him and the experience in running things. Now, look, you are a heartthrob in the 90s. You are. That's the research says it everywhere. You are a heartthrob. Just
don't believe the research.
No, because you are. I know women that were in love with you, bro. I'm not just, I would find nice things to say and they would be truthful because I'm a straight, truthful guy. But I'm telling you, you have women that would die for you. I just mean that. And I'm sorry, I forgot her name already, but
Katya.
Katya.
Yeah.
I love that name. I just met a Katya recently. Interesting. But how are you different today than the 90s heartthrob?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about who you are. It's really a redundant question because you've been sharing.
I'm still the same person. I'm really saying this. I build some more shields and protection and armor around myself.
That's well put. Thank you. That was really well put.
Yeah, I just have some more armor around myself. Good armor is not to keep the world away from me, but it's just to protect me, and I know how to protect myself and my family. So, just be wiser, more faith with Jesus and the choices I make. More in touch with that, and definitely, like I said, a lot more armor and protection.
When you get shot at and stabbed at, if you don't have armor on, you're a little dope, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I sense that you're born again. Is that somewhat fair to
They
say?
asked me that before. I've always had Jesus in my life since I was a little. I think you're
Okay.
always in a way born again. It's kind of like you learn so much that you're just applying more stuff, and you just keep. If you are in good harmony with yourself, if you're at peace within yourself, you got to go at peace with yourself first.
I agree.
Because once you're at peace with yourself, with life, that money and fame and the material things don't matter. But you're in a you're a peaceful warrior. You're just
I get it.
you know
I get it. I
yeah
believe everybody has to reinvent themselves continually
yeah
through life. You know,
absolutely.
it's
It's a learning process, and you gotta
exactly
really thank and also as you get older, unfortunately, we see people go, right? We see people in our lives, and
yeah.
we see grief. So how do you cope with that? So you appreciate life even more so because you've seen people gone, and your family members and things, or just life, and so every moment is precious. Every
And
moment is precious.
experience is really the best teacher, I find. I'm a hard
Yeah.
learner, they tell me,
Yeah.
but experience is a good teacher. I mean, I
Yeah.
have very thick armor since I'm a kid,
And
and
keep knocking on those doors. I tell,
I
it's
love it.
never over. It's never over. Keep getting up, even if you think it's over, even if you know it's over,
It's
even if you
never
think
over.
it's whatever your
Right,
mind is those games are played
right.
through society and life and stress and whatever. Keep freaking fighting and fighting and knocking on those doors, and I guarantee you, one of those doors will open and invite you in.
Remember, feelings are not facts.
It's true.
Feelings lie. Sometimes I
All the
experience
time.
25 feelings even before I open my eyes in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
that's what it is.
It's true.
Feelings are not facts. So I've learned, as a sort of an older cat, it doesn't matter how I feel.
And if you
Okay?
stop talking to yourself throughout the day, you'll live a better life because all those mental games that we play within ourselves, we think we're talking to someone else. No, we're just ourselves. The only
Right.
one you should be talking to is the spirit of God. But we just create things that are not even existing. So I think to be at peace, to make better decisions and choices, it will lead you to have a better success in everything you do.
Also, understand your self talk.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can, it's your talk. It's your self talk. So you can change your everything about your life by just changing your self talk. Because the only one that really listens to you is you. And only one that cares about what you're really saying is you.
That's right.
So, you really have to understand that if you
And you got to
modify
love yourself. Knowing
correct,
yourself, this is what I got. This is me. I got to appreciate and get and find out who you are, because the more you find out who you are, the more you love yourself, because you really understand, like, wow, I
right,
didn't know I was able to do this or to appreciate these things. And that's why you got to keep going. You got to keep putting the foot in front, and traveling is very important, and learning from other cultures and other things, because it opens up. You never know until you're there, right?
right.
But
I
you
get
got
it.
to go there. You got to actually go there mentally too. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. The more you tell yourself, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I tried that and it was not as bad as I thought.
Exactly
We
right.
are our worst enemies. And that's how the devil works, because he pushes us down to go,
Definitely.
yes, you're your worst enemy. Exactly.
A
I
hundred
know. That's why
percent. A hundred
that's why I'm going to
percent.
give you all these goodies for you to be attracted to and hopefully addicted to.
Those shiny objects.
Yes, those
Attractive.
shiny objects. Exactly.
All right. Now, tell if you could talk to your 25-year-old self,
Yeah.
what would you warn him about?
I would warn him and say, relax, breathe, and
Right.
take your time.
Easy does it, right? Easy
Yeah,
does it.
take your time. I was always very, and that's just who I am, as my personality, very aggressive, not patient in many moments of my life. I would tell myself to really learn and understand patience,
I love that. Yeah, it's a trait that escapes most young people.
because you will be able to learn even more so, because you'll breathe when something comes at you. You'll be able to hear it,
Right.
understand it, process it, and then deal with it. But when you're 25, there's no process involved. It's like boom, boom, boom.
I get it. I get
You
it
know?
so much. Now let's talk about some of the projects you're building today, that your
Yeah,
movies you're doing today, your
yeah,
book. I mean, you are a highly productive human being. You're an alpha
all the
male
time.
every which
Yeah,
way. So
everywhere.
we've talked a little bit about I guess Gene Davis's story, huh? That's
Yeah,
I
Breaking
watched it.
Shadows.
I watched the trailer right here in the studio this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
And great job, bro. What a
Thank you.
story! That must be an amazing story. Like,
It's very challenging, and it's a great project, and they're raising the money. It's very challenging, as you know, with these
yeah.
independent films to raise $1. I mean, when I was campaigning for Congress, it was hard to get $1 donation every 50 cents.
Yeah.
So I know how, but I know that these projects have to be made. I was able to make 2 projects so far with really a lot of hard work and dedication, and a lot of good people, a team effort, everybody. Even the community of Birmingham, when we shot Grace by Night, came together. A lot of people worked for free because they believed in the project.
Tell us about that project. Tell us about that project. Grace by Night.
Grace by Night is one of the best projects. You can rent it or buy it on Prime right now, and it's
okay. Hold on. How do I find it? Grace by Night on Prime Video.
Yep.
Who's starring in the movie?
Just myself and a lot of wonderful, wonderful actors that I don't even imagine this. There's a movie right now with a brand new of everything.
I love it.
Right, people you might recognize, but I want people to know, even me included. Don't even put me in the film. Just go watch a film because you heard it was good.
I'm going to watch it tonight, just so you know.
So
you're actually you're in that movie. You're in that movie.
Yeah, I'm in the film.
Did you produce it?
Yeah, I produced it.
Did you direct
it? I didn't write it.
Did you direct it?
No, I didn't direct it.
Okay, so it's a director. You co-produced it.
Yeah,
you're starring in it.
I read the story, Grace by Night.
What's it about? Give us a thumbnail.
It's a beautiful motivational story about a father who his only hope and love for life was his son and his marriage, and everything comes to an halt. His son commits suicide.
Oh God!
And his life comes to an end.
Oh, what a!
So how do you? And I was going through very hard times in a personal life,
right
back in the day. So I used that in the project, and it really worked well. We really went there. And this man was broken in every sense of the word. And then God puts him back together. And there's a relationship with a young man from the wrong side of the road who is inspired to be a wrestler, who has a life. And they worked. It's like a Rocky movie. It's a wrestling movie.
I love it.
And it's more than that. It's just a sports movie. It's a motivational movie. It's how we grew up watching Rocky movies, and we love those films.
I'm watching it tonight. I'm watching it tonight.
It's a movie. It just gives you, I don't know. It's just everything. Everything. All the reasons why I want to be an actor is in this film.
I love it.
And it came out great. And to make a film.
Do you play the father? You play the father?
Yeah, I play the father.
Oh God, what acting that's going to be! I don't want to say. I don't want you to tell us any more about it because I'm watching that movie, Grace by Night. Antonio Sabàto Jr. on Prime
and everybody
Video.
in it, and just the story and things that we want to keep making these type of films. We want to make these great films that people are just getting. And don't take my word for it. It's doing really well. It's got a really high score. Critic-wise, loved it. The fan base is loving it. I'm tracking how much money we're making on this film, so I want to keep making these films. Yeah, I'm tracking. I want to know, that this is what they want, and the answer is yes. So
I'm going to call you off camera in the next few days, and I want to talk to you about the movies. I'm moving into this arena, and I spent my whole life raising money. That's all I ever did. Just so you know, I went down to Wall Street in 1983, and that's
different time.
That's all, but that's the training. That's all I ever did was raise money, and I became very, very well known and very popular because imagine. If you plugged me in a deal, you never had to worry about getting money. And you look now at what goes on in different industry, the skills that I've developed, the network, et cetera. We used to call it the Rolodex. My kids laugh at me now, Dad. There's no Rolodex. It's your contacts, whatever. But it's more of a skill set. You were studying acting. I was studying how to raise money, et cetera. How to get money. Pretty much that's what I've done. I'm a getter. And it's second nature to me, but I do understand because now I'm in business and I'm past my Wall Street type days, but still everybody needs money. Every project, everybody's got an idea.
I know the business, show business very well because I've been in it my whole life, and my father
Correct.
before me. So I understand the show and the biz.
Right.
And now that I'm able to make films my way and produce them, distribute the films, and make deals and pre-productions and blah 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 and pre-distribution and all these things. And I also know what the market wants. So if you combine all that together, make good movies, know what the public wants, because and it's not a perfect world because it's still a lottery ticket to make films. You don't know how much money, you don't know if this is going to be a success or not. But if you do everything up properly and you obviously put less money into the film, but the movie comes out great and the revenue is bigger, then you can balance it out. So there's, as an executive producer and work with my partners and people that I know in the industry, you get to a place where you just know certain things could work
I
better than
get it.
others.
You know
Yeah.
that your business. I was
Yeah.
shocked when they announced the award for the Oscar for Best Motion Picture was this
Yeah.
independent film about a prostitute who marries this Russian oligarch's son. I mean, they made it for like $6 million. They said. I mean, and it won Best Picture. Talk about a winning formula, whatever they came up with. I
There's
mean,
a formula and there's a way of, you have to, the Academy has their judges and you got to get through them and you got to make sure that they see them. You got to have a backing for the money to send the film
right.
there and be seen. But, and there's all the award shows and stuff like that you got to go through. But, there's ways.
It's like
There's
every
ways to do
it's like
things.
every industry. There's a
Yeah.
game. There are games played in every
There's a game.
industry.
There's
You
a game.
have to
Unfortunately,
you have to
you have to play
understand
it.
first there are games. Then you
They're
got to
games.
figure out how to play.
I see.
You know what I mean? So
But you
every
have to know something. I mean, like the top
correct.
4 biggest movies of all time, they're all James Cameron movies, the
Right.
Avatars, the Titanic. But out of those films, there's also a Chinese cartoon that has made billions because China is building their market based on 2 billion people.
Correct.
So if you have 2 billion people watching your film, at least 1/4 of that is still more than we watch our films here. We only had 325 mil.
Correct.
They
And
got 2
how about
billion.
Bollywood?
And India as well. That's another huge market. So
Crazy.
yeah, the worldwide market of entertainment is huge. You just have to play the game, like you said. You have to know the markets, and you ultimately got to give them something that they can put in theaters or stream and make their revenues back. So when you give them, basically, if you give them good movies that have certain things in it that they want, then even or make more money is what we want. So even if you make even on your film and
It's a
use
big
that
win.
money to make an up, it's a big win.
It's a huge win. I get it. You're building your resume. Now,
Yeah.
so let's just summarize a little bit. This hotel aura, because I'm on social media, I follow you, and I love what I see. I love the way you present it.
Yeah.
People can actually make an appointment to come see the property, right?
Yeah, they should, and they should because
Correct.
it's a virtual program that you can put the goggles on and see the entire hotel from the outside in. Actually, we'll have you. It's amazing. We'll have you glide down from an helicopter into the helipad.
Wow, that's so
You see
wild,
Tampa.
bro.
It's wild.
What?
You got to come in. Yeah, you got to come in. Put these things on.
Wild.
You come in our gallery, and you just come in this helicopter. You're landing on the building. You come through the building, through the lobby. You see the bar, the this, the that, the private
So
room,
crazy.
all the hotel rooms, the penthouse, everything. You can pretty much touch it and see it for yourself. It's great.
That is so wild.
Yeah.
Hotel Aura. By the way, it's a great
Yeah.
name.
Yeah,
Great
hotel aura and private residences, and you can go. All the websites are there on my social media, on my Instagram, and just go there and make an appointment. See it for yourself because it's quite a.
So you can still buy a unit pre-construction.
Oh, we have plenty of
pre-construction
units, yeah.
price. Pre-construction,
Yes.
right?
And the sooner you buy, the better because the
Better
prices
deal
are
you
going
get.
up.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And now this Gene Davis film.
Yeah, I'm hoping to direct this film in September because I got a pre-booked schedule, so I'm hoping to be in Ocala with the team. Enjoy our lead actress, Joy Villa, and Gene Davis' entire crew in September and shoot this film and get it ready for next year.
I love to hear more about it. And tell us more. There's a book you mentioned. What's the name of your book? I know it's your story.
Yeah,
but
Antonio Sabàto Jr., The Untold Stories. These are all the stories that people don't know about me. And like I told you about the fire in our house, moving to this country, all the things that happened to my family,
crazy, bro.
all the stories, all the people that I work with, the movies that I made, the racing, all the racing how I started racing and all that stuff. Yeah, there's just a lot of compelling incredible stories of a family and a guy who came from Rome, Italy, and became known all over the world and being an American citizen and so much more. So it's cool. So
I
I was
love it.
able to do it and give it to my fans, and here it is.
I feel like the best of Antonio Sabàto is in front of us, not behind us. I really believe that.
You've got that right.
I
I
really believe
appreciate
it,
that.
bro.
I believe it too.
I feel it. I could actually feel it.
Yeah.
I feel
Thank you.
I feel your light, your aura, your energy, and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
So you aren't just on General Hospital. You are on Melrose Place.
Among other things, yeah, I've worked with Aaron Spelling, the great Aaron Spelling.
Yep.
And,
That
I worked with
was
him several times.
I love that show. I actually watched that show. My girlfriend at the time loved Melrose Place. You know the whole thing. Yeah. The 90210 days and all that, the spin-offs and all the young things. I loved that. It was a great escape for me coming out of Wall Street all day and then just living my head's in the stock market.
That's what I'm talking. See,
I got
that
an hour
gives you a little
break.
peace.
You have no idea, yeah, because I'm
You know.
morning. I see the ticket
I can only
tape all
imagine.
day.
I can only
I'm
imagine.
very serious at my trade. You know what I'm saying? So it
Yeah.
was like a wild thing. So you're an actor, a model, a father. You're a political. I don't want to call you an activist because I don't think you are.
No,
but
I'm just an American citizen.
You
Yeah.
speak up for what you believe in, and I have mad respect for that, bro.
And I love my country.
I have mad respect. This is your adopted country. You weren't born here. We take it for granted, I think, if you're born in America.
Yeah.
But kids that come over here, they tell me me how special it is and how privileged I am. And I forget sometimes because sometimes it's not the country that did me wrong, but the people that ran the government really did me dirty.
That's usually
and they all know it. Everybody
They all
knows.
know it. Yeah.
And just like they did Trump dirty, and they're gonna end up now forgiving him and wiping all the slate clean. And hopefully he's going to punish all these people that perpetuated all these hoaxes and election interference and all the nonsense, lies they were peddling, all these things.
Sure hope so, my friend.
Tell us now, before we wrap up, tell our audience, your fans, what you want to share with us as we...
please help us raise awareness, obviously for all the films I'm making. Grace by Night is on Prime. Please share that. And then 426 is a film that's coming out in the theaters this year. I'll keep everybody posted once I know the release date of that. And then raising money for Breaking Shadows, which is an important film. It needs to be made. We need to save a lot of lives, and we need to make sure that this story is told. And we're raising a lot of money. We need to have a lot more money to be raised so we can make this movie comfortably and give you, the audience, a product movie. I don't need millions of dollars. I just need enough money to make the film right, to make sure that we have all the equipment and everything that we need to make it right. Because, like I said, if I'm making films for God, I want to make A+ movies. I want to make it just as good as Paramount Pictures, as Warner Brothers, and Disney. All of them. That's what God deserves. In every way. Not just in every way possible. So that's the movies that I'm making now. And Breaking Shadows will be our next one, and I'll be directing that one.
And what's the name of the movie I'm going to be watching tonight?
Grace by Night.
I'm so excited. All right, so I feel like we covered a lot of ground. I want to say
thank you for having me. It's been great talking to you, my friend.
Bro, it's been a privilege, really, to get to know you this way, to be able to ask you questions.
Getting to know you. I really appreciate getting to know you and
thank you,
the man that you are, and your knowledge as well. I'm looking forward to having more chats with you about business and life in general.
100%. And when I come to the West Coast, I'm going to let you know ahead of time so we can meet up for a coffee or lunch.
West Coast of Florida.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's a lot easier than talking to my friends out in LA. Believe me.
I take the train a lot from Tampa to Miami. It's great. I spend
4
hours there.
I want you to know.
It's a great way.
I have a friend who just told me the same exact thing. He went the other way. He went from Miami to Tampa. He said it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He says, Ross, you got to do it. You can sit and do all your stuff.
You can take the flight. It's 45 minutes, nothing. But if you take the train and you're with your family or your loved one or whatever, you get on you can spend some time away, and it's just fun. It's just taking the train is less stress. You don't have to drive or fly.
Driving is very stressful. I've done that drive a few times now. All right, Antonio, I want to say thank you for your time. What did I say?
Thank you, my friend.
Arrivederci.
Good to see you. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.